Okay, this video is going to cover midpoint formula. You can see at the top, the midpoint formula is x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So every time you have an answer for midpoint, you're going to have coordinates. You're going to have an x and a y. You do not do anything. You should always have an x and a y. Don't add them together. So, for example here, if I give you two coordinates and it asks you to find the midpoint, this is important. It's going to say, find the coordinate of the midpoint. You're going to apply this formula right here. So the first thing you should do is label your points, x1, y1, x2, x2, y2. Okay? So once you've labeled your points, all you have to do is plug into this formula. So 0 plus 8 divided by 2, comma, because you're going to have a coordinate. Now we're going to do the y's. 0 plus 4 divided by 2. 0 plus 8 is 8 divided by 2. 0 plus 4 is 4 divided by 2. Now we can simplify this further. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2, comma, 4. This is the final answer. 2, comma, 4. Because it said in the question, it says coordinate. That is a coordinate. 2, comma, 4. Okay, in the next problem, I'm sorry, 4, comma, 2. In the next problem, instead of giving you the coordinates like we did here, you have to find the coordinates. So let's label this A, B. Okay, and let's look at what the coordinate for A is. So this is going to be 5, comma, 3. And then over here, the coordinate for B is going to be -4, comma, -1. Now once we have the coordinates, we can identify the coordinates and label them with x1, y1, and x2, y2. And then we're going to plug in again. So we have 5 plus -4 divided by 2, comma, 3 plus -1 divided by 2. Watch your signs, use the calculator. 5 plus -4 is 1 over 2. 3 plus -1 is 2 divided by 2. Now, 1 over 2 can't be simplified, so we're going to leave this 1 over 2, but 2 over 2 is simply 1. So the midpoint of this segment AB is 1/2, comma, 1. Or if you use decimals, you could have written it as 0.5, comma, 1. Would be acceptable as well. Okay, the next question for midpoint would be this scenario. Given an endpoint and the midpoint, find the other endpoint. Please notice that these two questions are different. The first question up here said, find the coordinate of the midpoint. The question down here says, given an endpoint and the midpoint, find the other endpoint. Okay, so I'm going to show you the same method that we showed you in class. So here, this is one of our endpoints, 0, 0, and then we have a midpoint, 5, comma, -8. I want to know the other endpoint. So I want to know how I got from 0 to 5. I added 5. Okay? If you add 5, you're going to do the same thing down here. Remember, we're just looking at the x values to start. So 5 plus 5 is 10. So that's the x coordinate of the other endpoint. Okay, now over here, we're going to do the same thing to the y's. How did I get from 0 to -8? I subtracted 8. We're going to do the same thing over here to our y value, Negative 8 minus 8 is negative 16. I would like you to pause the video now and try number 4 on your own. Once you're done, hit play again, and I will show you how to work out the problem and give you the answer. Okay, how did we get from 4 to 5? We added 1. I'm going to do the same thing here. To our x-coordinate, 5 plus 1 is 6. On the other side, for our y-coordinates, how do we get from negative 2 to negative 8? We subtracted 6. So we're going to do the same thing over here. Negative 8 minus 6 is negative 14. Okay, the last two questions says the coordinate point T are given. The midpoint of ST is 5, negative 8. Find the coordinate of point S. So it's asking you to find the other endpoint. So the question is just like 3 and 4. The only difference is I haven't set the problem up for you. So I'm going to set up number 5, and then you're going to do number 6 on your own. So T is one of the endpoints. And then we have a midpoint. Okay. We have 5, comma, negative 8. Okay. So this is our midpoint. Again, I want to know the other endpoint. So we're going to say, how did I get from 0 to 5? I added 5. So I'm going to also add 5 here to my x-coordinate. So that's going to give me 5 plus 5 is 10. Okay, and then we're going to say, how do we get from 4 to negative 8? Okay, 4 to negative 8 is going to be minus 12. And then we're going to do the same thing over here. So negative 8 minus 12 is negative 20. If you have a hard time figuring out what this difference is right here, the easy thing to do is say the midpoint coordinate, which was negative 8, subtract 4. That's going to give you negative 12. Okay, so you're subtracting up. Negative 8 minus the other endpoint of y, 4, is going to give you negative 12. So you know what changed here. Okay, if you could pause the video, and then I will show you how to do number 6. Okay, and then for the last one, you should have set it up like this. Again, the same midpoint, 5, comma, negative 8. So the change here, minus 5, minus 5. That's going to give you another endpoint of 0. And then over here, this one was a little more difficult. This is minus 26, minus 26, which is going to give you your y coordinate of your other endpoint,